I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
Hi, this is Douglas Preston, and I am the author of The Wheel of Darkness. The Wheel of Darkness is I think it's the 6th novel in the Pendergast series, and it starts off in a remote monastery in Tibet, where the monks have had a very sacred and apparently quite dangerous item stolen from them. And they ask Pendergast to recover it. When he asks, well, what was it that was stolen, they don't know, because it had been kept locked in a chest for the last 1,000 years, and it had been given to them for safekeeping, and they'd been warned never to let it, to release it into the world. So Pendergast pursues the thief and this unknown object all the way across Europe and ends up on the maiden voyage of the Britannia, the world's largest ocean liner. And in the mid-Atlantic, a lot of very strange things start to happen. Well, Pendergast is kind of a strange character. He sort of emerged from our heads fully formed, like Athena from the forehead of Zeus. He just sort of stepped out of our twisted minds and introduced himself to us and said he was going to be our main character. And this was when we were writing The Relic, which was our first novel in which he appeared and which was made into a film by Paramount Pictures. But unlike a lot of our other characters, we don't really know much about him. He's as mysterious to us as he is to our readers. In fact, the first 3 novels we wrote, we didn't even know what his first name was. And although it's strange, he seems a lot more real to me than many real people do. I feel like I know him, but I don't know a lot about him. We never expected to write another book after The Relic. I mean, we just had a lot of fun writing it. We never expected that Pendergast would be a series character or that we would even continue our writing partnership. But after we wrote the first book and it was made into this big movie, and we just thought, oh, well, let's write another one, and then another one, and then it just became kind of a series. Well, the Diogenes trilogy was the really big trilogy for us. That's what really brought us to be, #1 best-selling authors. Diogenes is Pendergast's brother, and it was really a struggle of epic, sort of almost archetypal proportions between the brother, who was an FBI agent, Pendergast, and Diogenes, who was a criminal of great brilliance. He's sort of a Moriarty, or he's sort of what Mycroft Holmes would be if he were a criminal. And in fact, Diogenes, for those of you who know about Sherlock Holmes, Diogenes, his name comes not just from the Greek philosopher, but also from the club that Mycroft belonged to in London, the Diogenes Club, where he would always be found. So that's a little allusion to Sherlock Holmes for those readers who are savvy. But so Diogenes, people ask us, did he really die at the end of the trilogy? And all I can say is, I never saw his body, but he sure fell into, if you fall into a volcano, the chances of survival are pretty small. So honestly and truly, I don't know whether he is dead or alive. I really don't. Well, techno-thriller is, I'm not sure I really am totally pleased with that kind of label. Our books have a lot of science in them. Both Lincoln and I have backgrounds in science, and so we have computers, we have archaeology, paleontology, often cryptography, things like that. So our books have a lot of science in them, and I guess if that makes them techno-thrillers, so be it. I sort of see our books being like the Andromeda Strain, or perhaps like Jurassic Park. They do have science in them, but they're not all about science, and they're certainly not science fiction. But they're for scientifically interested readers. Not people, if a person who is ignorant of science, who doesn't care about science, who knows nothing about science, is definitely not going to want to read one of our books. They're for people who are a lot more aware of what's going on with science, computers. Often younger people who are computer savvy find our books to be kind of interesting. Speaking about sex scenes, talking about sex scenes, Lincoln and I, neither one of us had much interest in writing sex scenes. But, you got to have that in. I mean, it's, the characters are together. You have to do something with that. So I remember the first time we had to write a sex scene, I said, oh, Link, I don't really want to do this. He said, all right, well, I'll give it a shot. No pun intended. And so Lincoln worked up this sexy, and he sent it to me. I read it. I said, oh, Lincoln, this is terrible. My God, I feel so sorry for your wife. I mean, really, is this what you consider sex? Let me try it. So I rewrote it, and Lincoln read it, and he said, Doug, this is pathetic. I mean, I had no idea. I mean, this is really sad. I mean, it's your wife that I feel sorry for, So we went back and forth like that. And I mean, the fact is, we'd rather do it than write about it, It's not that much fun to write about sex. So we kind of leave a lot of that to the imagination of our readers. As far as language goes, well, a New York City cop uses certain words all the time. I mean, if you've ever known a New York City cop, you know what their favorite word is. So, what are we going to do? Censor it? No. So, we try to reproduce the way people really talk. So, I don't know, is there a line that we would cross or not cross? I don't know. I'm not sure where that line is, but... Well, it's curious. Lincoln and I have a lot of fun gathering bad reviews for our books and posting them at our website. We have a section of our website called the Rogues Gallery where you can go and read all the worst, the most vicious, the most outrageous reviews of our books, and then we have little comments at the end. We always get in the last word there. But actually, I like the internet. I think that it's a direct forum for readers to say what they think about authors, whether it's good or bad. These are not people with an axe to grind. They're just plain readers. And I like that. I mean, the reviewing profession up till now has been, a lot of professional reviewers who tend to be jerks. I mean, a person who takes pleasure in criticizing other people, a person who spends a half an hour writing a review of a book that took an author a year to write, well, that kind of person tends to be a bit of an idiot in my book. Who was it, Brendan Behan, the Irish writer, he said, critics are like eunuchs in a harem. They know how it's done. They see it done every day. They just can't do it themselves. So, but I like the internet because it allows real readers who are not being paid to say what they think. And I like that. Going on a book tour is kind of tiring. You're flying city to city. Every day you're in a new city. But I do really appreciate meeting our fans. I mean, we have really good readers. I don't know, the people who read our books, who like our books, they're cool. I mean, they're really interesting. They're not typical readers, I think. I mean, I have a high opinion of their literary taste, for example. So it's good to meet them. And they're very direct. Often they'll come up and they'll say, hey, that scene in such and such a book, man, that was terrible. It's like, okay, I can take that. I hear you. So our fans are very direct. I think they're very smart. And it's always good to get feedback, good and bad. Well, Lincoln and I are going to keep writing Pendergast novels as long as we find them interesting and as long as our readers find them interesting. And we're working on a new one now called The Revenant. And it involves a religion known as Obeah, which comes from West Africa. It came to the New World through the slave trade. And it's a very interesting religion. Very few people know about it, but it is still practiced in the New World in certain areas by descendants of slaves. And we're having it's very interesting, very intriguing. The Revenant is the title. Hi, this is Doug Preston, and you're watching The Purification Process.